We are going to discuss Payton Tolle's AAA debut. We've got injury updates on Carlos Narvaez and Marcelo Mayer, and then we're going to recap the rubber match against the San Diego Padres. But before we do that, I need to show you this photo right here. It's a little concerning. What that shows is 68.5% of the people that have viewed my videos are not subscribed. Ladies and gentlemen, we are knocking on the door of 5,000 subscribers, which is a huge accomplishment here on the channel. Help a brother out. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. The best daily Red Sox coverage you're going to find on all of YouTube. Welcome back into the Red Sox Rundown. I am your host, Jack Lauderay. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video. If you've never watched one of our videos before, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you see. Like I've already mentioned, we're going to talk about Payton Tolle's AAA debut, Carlos Narvaez, Marcelo Mayer, and then we're going to talk about the rubber match game yesterday between the Red Sox and the Padres. Let's start with Payton Tolle because this is something I'm very excited about. Payton Tolle, the second-round pick out of TCU in the 2024 MLB draft, has just been promoted to AAA. He made his AAA debut for the WooSox yesterday, and let's break it down. This is from Tyler Milliken. He kind of had everything you need to know. He said Payton Tolle settled in after an ugly first inning that wasn't helped by some poor defense by Mikey Romero. Ended up tossing 4 scoreless innings after the first. Finished with a line of 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 6 runs, 3 Ks, 1 walk. He racked up 14 whiffs, 10 on the fastball alone, and his last pitch of the day was 97.7 miles per hour. So you may look at that line and say, Jack, 6 runs, 5 earned, only 3 Ks. That's a horrible line. Well, context is needed here. In the first inning, there was a runner on, 1 out. A ball is hit to Mikey Romero in the infield. Should have been a double play to end the first inning, but it was bobbled and it was an error. And that led to then, I believe it was 2 batters later, a grand slam. So should Tolley have reacted well and gotten out of that inning unfazed? Yes, of course. But he really shouldn't have been in that situation as it was. And the fact that he was able to regroup after that inning and give you 4 shut innings shows really great poise and a really great perseverance from Tolle. He is one of my most hyped prospects, one of the prospects I am looking at the most in terms of September call-ups, either coming out of the bullpen or potentially being your 5th starter. Because look, Dustin May and Walker Buehler are both. Walker Buehler pitched fantastic against San Diego a few nights ago, but let's be real, though. You don't trust Walker Buehler that much. I don't trust Walker Buehler that much. And Dustin May, in his one game, he's going to pitch tomorrow, but in his one game, he has not impressed. So if you get into September and one of Dustin May and Walker Buehler are really struggling, Payton Tolle might get the call, and he might be your 5th starter going into September into the playoffs. We'll see what happens. I'm very bullish on him. He's got fantastic stuff. He's exactly the type of guy that the Red Sox are looking for. Big-bodied, very explosive fastball, really awesome stuff. I would be excited for Payton Tolle to get the call. There's also David Sandlin, Connerly Early, some other pitching prospects that might get the call up as well. I think Sandlin and Early would be in the bullpen exclusively, but I think Tolle has the potential and has the stuff to be a 5th starter if you really need him to be. Should the Red Sox call up Payton Tolle in September? September is right around the corner. We are about halfway through the month of August, and then in September, the Red Sox get to call 2 more people up to their roster. Should one of them be Payton Tolle? Just comment yes or no in the comments. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. So if YouTube throws you an ad break here, which I'm going to guess that they do, go down below in the comments and let the ad play. And while the ad's playing, answer this question. Should the Red Sox call up Payton Tolle in September with a simple yes or no? We got some good injury news and some bad injury news. We're going to start with the good injury news, then we'll get into the bad injury news after. Carlos Narvaez is going to start today. Alex Cora announced he played yesterday at the end of the game when Connor Wong got pinch hit for. So Narvaez is good. He's back. He's ready to go. I hope, because we saw, the cracks started to form, over the last month or so. The offensive numbers were down. You could tell that he was starting to struggle. You could tell that the workload was starting to get to him. And so this week or so break might have been a catalyst to help regroup him and get him ready for this final push to the postseason. So it's good news that he's okay. Like, you know, the knee was never really a concern because they did the imaging, they did the testing, and it came back clean. It just came back as a sore left knee. So I'm not worried about anything catastrophic happening, but definitely getting him off his feet for about a week or so, letting him rest and recoup after the heavy workload that he's had for a majority of this season is really, really good news. On the other end of the spectrum, not great news on Marcelo Mayer. Alex Cora has not had an update on Marcelo Mayer over the last few days. He's not started baseball activities, and this is the part that really hits me. Cora said he didn't know if the cortisone shot that Mayer got on his sprained wrist actually worked. And if that's the case, that's very concerning because you need that cortisone shot to work for him to resume baseball activities, get back as quick as possible, get through the rehab process, and start playing baseball games again. Now, a lot of people in my comments have been saying, and I do tend to agree with them, that, you know, this is a concerning injury, and you know, they haven't taken surgery off the table. So I don't know if we see Marcelo Mayer again this year. And that is, again, concerning because this is the same injury he suffered in 2022. So this goes into the Marcelo Mayer injury concerns. Up until this point in the season, he's been healthy. He's posted. But when the wheels come falling off at the very end of the season, in the dog days of the summer into early September, when you need him the most, he gets injured and he might not see the field again this year. Obviously, we know what he brings, the elite defense, a relatively good bat. Obviously, nothing. He hasn't been a world beater at the plate this season, but he's been good enough to contribute. He's better than like a David Hamilton or you know, whoever. But yeah, very, you know, concerning injury update. This is the first time that we've heard the potential that the cortisone shot just might not have worked. Because everything that we've heard so far has been like, yeah, you know, seems like good. Mayer was talking, he's like, yeah, I feel so much better, blah, 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 all of that stuff. This is the first, like, really negative update we've had on Mayer, and we'll see what happens. I obviously assume he's not going to join them in Houston. I don't see why he would. So we'll get back to Fenway after the beginning of this week. They'll have the off day on Thursday, and we'll see where he's at. At this point, with Cora saying he doesn't know if the shot worked, I'd be a little concerned about him coming back this season, but you let me know in the comments. Will Marcelo Mayer play again this season? That is the question I'm going to ask you. Type 1 for yes if you think he does. Type 0 for no if you think he plays no more games this season. Be honest. Let me know. I was originally going to say 1 for yes, but after the, you know, kind of ominous update that Cora gave around the shot maybe not working, I might shift to 0 for no, but you let me know. 1 for yes, 0 for no. Does Mayer play again this season? We're going to get into the game here in a second, but one more time, I'm just going to ask you real quick to please consider hitting that subscribe button. Daily Red Sox coverage, shorts after every game, shorts for all the injury updates, trade news, rumors, all of that. We cover it all here on the channel. As the playoffs get closer, we're going to be doing some watch parties as well. We've done a few already this year, and they were a lot of fun. But as we start to get into late September, as October starts to come around, as they're pushing for the division and for a playoff spot, we are going to be live for some watch parties. You're not going to want to miss that. They are a lot of fun. Hit that subscribe button. Join us right now. Join the fastest growing Red Sox YouTube channel on the internet. All right, Red Sox lose 6-2. First time losing consecutive games since the Phillies series. And this was a very winnable series. At the end of the day, it's just a few decisions and a few sequences that just didn't go your way. And my whole perspective on this is I'm not going to panic. I'm just flush this and move on to Houston. The Padres are a really good team. They were the most aggressive at the trade deadline. They have an actual super bullpen, not like the Yankees' fake super pen. They have an actual super bullpen. And if you cannot execute early in the game, you don't really have a shot. So they lose the series. They've struggled on the road. I think their record is 26-32, I believe, is the record on the road. That's not great. Thankfully, you kind of pick that up by winning so much at home, which they haven't done over the past few seasons. But I'm not going to panic over this series loss. The Padres are a really good team. They trotted out really good starters. Their bullpen is elite, probably the best bullpen in baseball. And their lineup is kind of relentless. Like, I see their lineup and I think the Dodgers of last year with really relentless players up and down the lineup. And that's what the Padres have. But let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's talk about the pitching first. Brian Bayo gives you 5 2/3, 6 hits, five runs, 3 walks, 7 Ks. I think that with Bayo, this is a really unfortunate line for him, and people are just going to box score hunt, look at that line and say Bayo had a horrible game. I don't necessarily believe that. I think for a lot of the game, he was pitching pretty well. It was a lot of really unlucky bloop singles. Of course, you have Bogarts doing a lot of damage. You've got the double. Who hit the double? Luis Ariz hit the double to open up the scoring. Like, just some unfortunate, balls hitting the outfield that outfielders just couldn't get to. And the Padres put together good at bats. They, hit the balls that Bayo gave them, right down the middle. And, Bayo just couldn't finish the 6th. He started to unravel in the 6th, and Cora had to come out and get him, walked 3. And that was that for Bayo. Chris Murphy comes in, walks a batter with the bases loaded, and he gets pulled. Greg Weissert gives you the 7th. Isaiah Campbell gives you the 8th. You don't need the 9th because you lost, and that is what it is. So not the worst outing for Bayo. Again, I know if you box score hunt, it looks terrible, but I think a majority of this game he was in control. It was just some unlucky, things didn't go his way. And then he just didn't execute a few pitches. And that is what it is. Again, against a really powerful San Diego lineup, what are you going to do? Flush it, move on to Houston. It's going to be okay. Offensively, on the other hand, it was an abysmal game. 5 hits, 3 walks, 13 strikeouts. Dylan C. shoved. His line today was 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks. The 2 runs came on an error from Xander Bogaerts. They didn't call it an error, but it was an error. So Cease really should have had like 6 shut. Like, he shoved. And at that point, there's just nothing you can do. It's just a loss. Like, you didn't do anything really frustrating. I mean, there's the top of the 7th, which we'll get to in a second. But the rest of the game is just you got dominated in terms of the offense. Like, you just couldn't hit Dylan Cease or any of their relievers. And Bayo pitched good enough, but had a few unlucky instances, and you lost the game. I think the game 2 nights ago was way more frustrating. You should have won that game, but it just, this series should have been won, but I'm not stressing it. We're on to Houston. It is what it is. The only real issue I had was the top of the 7th. You scored 2 runs. They give you a gift. Xander Bogaerts gives you a gift. Double agent for the Red Sox. Who's to say? And then you have bases loaded with no outs. And then the next 3 batters come up and all 3 of them strike out. That just can't happen. It just can't. It can't happen. Put the ball in play. Put the ball in play. It's that simple. The situational hitting on the road is really bad. It is. It's not good. The Red Sox have struggled with it all year. It's very concerning because if you get into the playoffs, you're not just going to get to, you're not going to have the luxury of playing at Fenway Park for every game. So you need to figure out how to win on the road. Like I said, I believe, again, their record is 28-32 or 26-32 or something. Like, it's not a horrible record, but it's not a great record. And again, going into the playoffs, you're not going to have the luxury of playing at Fenway Park for every game. So you're going to have to figure it out. When teams give you advantages and they give you opportunities to get back in ball games, you have to execute. They didn't do that today. All right, I'm going to flush it and move on. We are on to Houston. We have pitching probables, I believe. So let me know, and then we'll do standings watch here in a second. I want to make sure I've got the right pitching probables here. So Monday is Garrett Crochet against Christian Javier, who I believe Lou Merloni said was coming off the IL. So I think you win that game. Dustin May versus Spencer Arrighetti on Tuesday, and then I believe it's Walker Buehler versus Hunter Brown on Wednesday. Yes, it is. Walker Buehler versus Hunter Brown on Wednesday. Rough. Now, you just swept the Astros, but you were at home. You don't have to face Framber Valdez. You really don't have to face the top of their rotation at all. But I struggle to see a path where they win more than one, personally. I have them winning today, the Crochet game. Spencer Arrighetti is a pretty good. Dustin May, unproven commodity. And then Hunter Brown, I think, is clearly better than Walker Buehler. If we're just going off of pitching matchups, I give the Padres 2 out of 3. And it's also the fact that you're still playing on the road. And, Houston is a rowdy environment. So, you're not at Fenway. You swept them, which was great, but you swept them at Fenway. You're not there anymore. So I need to see how they react. I think they win the Crochet game. The other two I'm very shaky on, but you let me know. You predict the Red Sox record against the Astros. I'm going 1-3, 1 out of 3. I got the Padres series right, by the way. I went 1 out of 3 for the Padres, and I got that right. I'm going to go 1 out of 3 in this series, too. I would like to get 2 out of 3. I would like to get out of this road trip going 3-3 at the least, but I don't know. I'm gonna go 1 out of 3. But you let me know, predict the record in the comments down below. All right, let's finish it off with scoreboard/standings watch. Not a huge shakeup because a lot of teams lost yesterday, so good. Twins beat the Royals 5-3. That doesn't really affect you that much. Yankees lost to the Astros 7-3. Max Fried is a fraud, yes. So that's really great to see. The Guardians lost to the White Sox. That's really good because they were chomping at the bit to get into the wild card picture, so they didn't move up because of your loss. The Rangers lost to the Phillies 4-2. They're starting to fall out of the race. The Mariners beat the Rays. We'll talk about the standings in a second, but that is significant. And then the Blue Jays did beat the Dodgers, so that's also significant. Looking at the standings, Blue Jays won, you lost. They're now 4 games up. It's okay. Plenty of time left. Not worried about it, but 4 games is a lot. It's going to be okay. The real kicker here is the wild card. The Mariners, with their win yesterday and your loss, have passed you for the top wild card spot. They are now a game up on you in the wild card. You're still in the second wild card spot, and you still have a 2.5 game lead on the Yankees, which is great. You're still in a comfortable position. You're 3 games up on the Guardians, who are the last team out. But you'd like to be in that top spot just for kicks and giggles. But the Mariners are chomping at the bit of the Astros. They might take over the division in the next week. We'll see what happens. So nothing really changed. You lost the top wild card spot. You're still in a comfortable spot in the wild card. But the Blue Jays did gain a game. So not what you want to see. Not ideal. But flush it. Get ready for Houston. Go win that series. That's it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you go follow me on Twitter at Jack Lotteray. I'm tweeting out so much about the Red Sox. It's actually kind of annoying at times. Go follow me over there. That link's going to be in the comments and description of today's video. We're very close to 1,000 followers over there. So help a brother out. Follow me on Twitter. That's where you're going to find me for all of the latest Red Sox news and rumors. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. We'll be back later tonight with a short and then tomorrow with another long form video. And until next time, go Sox.